Okay, Brother Ali. So after we learned Surah Al-Buruj, thank you so much. We had in Surah Al-Buruj the story of Ashab Al-Ukhdud. Can you tell us fast the summary of the story and what do we learn from the story? Go ahead.
All right, so okay, thank you, Ustaz Ayman. Okay, so we've seen the story that we have a boy who won a contest to see who could become the sorcerer's apprentice. He's walking and he hears somebody in a cave saying like Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah. He goes to check out the man or the person who's in the cave. And what he says is he sees an old man saying, "Oh, where are you going to? I'm going to the city." "Oh, you really don't want to go there. It's corrupted." "Why?" "They don't believe in Allah anymore. It used to be very good before third monopolies took over." Okay. He didn't think of much of it. He went to the sorcerer where he was then taught black magic. As we know, black magic is haram in Islam because you're working with the shaitan, which is obviously haram. And we see that he ends up using fear. And he eventually goes to the old man and tells him about this. And it's like, you do not need black magic. Why do you need the power? Why do you need the shaitan? He tells him, it's just using the fear of others against them. One day he's walking. There's people are asking, "Can you please move this elephant out of the way? We can't move him. Can you please use your black magic?" He thought about what the old man said. So at first, he used black magic and threw snakes out of his arm. The elephant didn't move at all. Then he grabbed a tiny pebble, like this big, grabbed it and said, "Oh Allah, bi'idhnak, let me move this elephant." He threw it. The elephant went flying off the edge. And this was the first. And after this, he started to believe in Allah, subhanAllah, and he started to tell people about Allah. First, he was just telling them why you should believe in him, how Allah is the only God. Then one day, one of the blind advisors of the king comes over, sees the boy. Mind you, this is when he's a refugee because he's not allowed to be anywhere. Because if he's in the city, he's going to get arrested and could be possibly hurt. The advisor goes to him. He's blind. So this is thousands of years ago where usually blindness, that's it. If you're blind, you're blind. He told her, the boy, all this money in this bag is all yours if you can cure my blindness. So what he did, he said, Allah bi'idhnak, let me be able to heal this man's blindness. That day, the man came out, the advisor was able to see. He was happy. From that day on, he started curing people's diseases, saying that it was in the name of Allah, saying, you shouldn't take me, thank Rabbuna. This began to get more people to become Muslims. Eventually, the king had enough. So we decided, let's go and kill the boy. First, it was guards. They all took him to the mountain. We're going to push him off. And he's like, oh, Allah, please protect me. A sandstorm came in, knocking all of them off. Then the king hired an executioner to kill him. He said, oh, Allah, please let the executioner's arms go be paralyzed. As he picked up the sword, he just couldn't move. He couldn't move anymore. Finally, after the king yelled, what is going to kill you? The boy said, only Allah can. You have to say, you have to ask, Ya Allah, bi'iznak, let me kill the boy. And that's what it did. He, in front of a crowd of thousands of Muslims, the king yelled, Allah bi'iznak, let me kill the boy. He shot the arrow, the boy died. This caused an uprising. Everybody was now Muslims. They were like, oh, Allah is real. Allah is the only one. La ilaha illallah. They set up a pit of fire where they said, okay, if you're Muslim, jump in. So eventually people were like, okay, I'm not going to be punished in the afterlife. So they did. They did it for Rabbna. And this is where we see a miracle occur, where we see a woman and her baby questioning, like, what do I do? Because she's a Muslim, but she doesn't want to jump in. She doesn't want to kill the baby. And mind you, the baby's a newborn, so he's just been born like less than a month ago. At that moment, we see Allah lets the baby talk, and the baby says, Mom, do not be afraid. The reward fil akhirah is worth it. In the end, majority of the Muslims ended up jumping in the plane, but it's believed that in Surah Al-Buruj that there is a reward waiting for them in paradise.
Thank you so much. Can you provide us now with the lessons that we can learn from this great story?
Well, lessons we can learn. Well, for starters, this is just undeniable evidence that Allah is real. You see multiple times where the only way something occurs or something happens is if Allah wants it to. They couldn't hurt the boy until Allah wanted it to happen. The elephant wouldn't move until Allah wanted it to happen. So this is undeniable evidence that Allah is real and is the only one. This is another lesson that I personally took away from it was making more dua. I've throughout the thing, while it's not obvious, we see majority of the time they usually make du'as to Allah for something, and we see these du'as always come true, which shows how Allah is always listening. Actually, it's believed that in the Quran it is said that Allah during some days, I believe during Ramadan, where Allah Himself will go to the lowest level of Jannah just to listen out for prayers and dua. And I think this overall is a great way to begin dua because we see multiple times where the impossible is happening, where okay, I'm unable to move the this thing, or you need help, they need help, they're in a bad situation, they make a dua to Allah and lets it happen. At least that's what I took away from it. How we should start making du'as more.
inshallah. Thank you so much, Ali. That was great.